need the posters up.
Sure, people know anyway without the posters. Don't need the posters, do they really? Waste of money.
Back to the main business of the day, and the SDLP has shared power with the Ulster Unionists at Stormont before. Of course, now Colm Eastwood wants the electorate to give his party and the UUP another chance. Mr. Eastwood is with me now. Welcome to you. We've just heard from Mike Nesbitt there. He says he personally will transfer after his own candidates to the SDLP, but he will not tell Ulster Unionist voters to follow his lead. Is that a disappointment?
No, we're campaigning to get number ones and number twos in certain constituencies. We're fighting very hard to retain seats and gain seats. And our job as a political party is to get people to vote for us. It's the same for Mike Nesbitt. And after that, we're asking people to vote for change. And it's up to others and individuals to decide how they vote. You know, we're not going to try and convince people to vote beyond us. We think it's important that people come out and vote for the SDLP. We also think it's important that the electorate actually come out and vote this time. And I fundamentally understand why people have been so fed up, so frustrated, and now so angry at our politics, and why they haven't voted in a long time. I was talking to a man last night who hasn't voted in 16 years, and he was taking a registration form from me to make sure that he could vote this time, because people are not just fed up, they're actually angry and furious at what's going on here. And I think if people want to see that happening and continue to happen, they should of course vote for the government parties, but if they want to see something different, they should vote for something different.
Well, Mike Nesbitt was clear about what he will do. Let's just see if you will be as clear about what you will do in your constituency where you are voting. Will you vote for SDLP candidates, and will you give your next preferences to Ulster Unionist candidates?
I'll be voting for myself, number one, and then I'll be voting for Mark H. Durkin, number two. I haven't decided what I'll do next, but I will go down the ticket.
I haven't decided. You can't say it today. You're positing yourself as an alternative government, and you can't look me straight in the eye and say you will support an Ulster Unionist candidate next.
I will absolutely transfer to an Ulster Unionist
next.
Candidate. What is this about?
Because it has a higher value if you transfer higher up. You know that.
But I'm pretty sure we're going to get two SDLP candidates elected in Foyle, and the number three I don't think will come into it. But that's just my personal situation. Look what we're talking about.
But you're putting yourself forward as an alternative government.
Yeah.
If we were to take seriously this idea that the SDLP and the Ulster Unionists could replace the DUP and Sinn Féin in Stormont Castle, then surely the message you need to be sending out to people watching this programme today is vote for the SDLP and then vote for our would-be coalition partners, the Ulster Unionist Party.
I know this is your hook. You want to work out how people are going to vote and where people are going to transfer. What I want
to test the plausibility of your offering as an alternative government.
Let me tell you how plausible it is. We are two parties who want to work together, who have worked together in opposition, who aren't forced to work together by any stretch of the imagination. There is not one opposition around the world that I can think of who actually work together, who put joint motions down, who have very similar policies on many, many issues. We did that because we thought it was important to show an alternative, and we're going into this election as an alternative. We will work with any party that wants to see change, and in order to form that type of government, we'll need to have other people involved in that as well. But I think people have a simple choice. You either vote for the same old, and you get the same old, or you vote for something new and something different. And I'm asking people to vote for change. And that change, I think, will make a big, big difference. We need a different type of government, one that's about partnership and cooperation. We struggle very, very hard to get this type of arrangement. We do have nationalists and unionists in government. Yes, of course, we're all different and we have different perspectives and ideas. I want to see United Ireland, and Mike Nesbitt doesn't. That doesn't stop us working together. The system means that we actually have to work together. So you either vote for something or people who can work together, or you vote for parties who've proven time and time again that they can't. And even when they do, they don't deliver.
Here's another difficulty that you've got. Even before we get to a situation of having an alternative government or a next government in place after the election of March the 2nd, everybody seems to agree there's going to be some period of negotiations. And Mike Nesbitt's made it very clear that he believes James Brokenshire is the man to chair such discussions. You've made it patently obvious that you disagree and you think James Brokenshire is not an honest arbiter, I think was the phrase that you used the other day. So there's another huge disagreement between the two.
Here are two political parties with different policies, different manifestos, different backgrounds and different visions of the future, who have a disagreement on a particular issue, and you'll be able to.
But we know that. But the point is, you're also trying to tell people that you can be trusted to work together. You're doing my job for me. You're pointing out all of the differences.
It would be ridiculous to pretend that we were the same party. We're not. We're not pretending that. What we're saying is, even despite all of those differences, we can work together because we want to. And we have a system here called power sharing.
What do you do with all of those issues that you disagree on?
Well, we do what any other coalition government has to do. We get together respectfully and honestly and solve the problems. You know, when I'm walking around the doors and talking to people, well, is that really the biggest issue? Of course, I don't think that the British government should be chairing talks where they've acted as an activist as in the last number of weeks and months around legacy. Of course, they shouldn't be doing that. The biggest problem that we face right now, though, Mark, is, hold on a second, is that we either vote for parties who want to form a government, or we vote for parties who it seems very, very clear are heading towards direct rule. Okay. So, you know, whatever about vote might get Colin. If you vote Arlene and vote Michelle, we're going to have Theresa. That's what's going to happen. Or you vote for something different. Vote for people who want to form a government, who can get over their differences. We've already had joint motions.
Vote Mike, get Colin. Vote Colin, get Mike. Looks like a bit of a cod now, doesn't it?
How does it? We're talking about working together in the interests of the people, in the same way that we've done in the past number of months.
You need to get a lot of people elected. You need to do a lot better, don't you, than you did last May, if that's going to be the case. So let's talk about the... Mike Nesbitt conceded there's a mountain for the Ulster Unionist Party to climb on March the 2nd. There is a mountain that's even bigger for your party. The election last May was bad for the SDLP, the worst result ever, in fact, in terms of vote share and assembly representation. So what realistic prospect is there of you arresting that slide at this election?
Well, I think we're going to have a good election, and I know that from talking.
Well, you would say that.
Out on the wall.
Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?
Well, I can only
back it up with evidence.
I can only tell you, well, the evidence will be on March the 2nd and on the 3rd and the 4th when the results are out. I can only tell you what I'm hearing. People are fed up with politics, and they're beginning to think that maybe there's an opportunity this time to do something different. We have a very strong offering. We have a fantastic team, a new team who've proven themselves in a very short period of time.
You don't have a new team. You've had to go back to two people who have retired and bring them to stand yet again. I mean, I don't want to be ageist about it, but Dolores Kelly standing at 57, John Dallett at 69, whatever about them, well, they hardly represent fresh blood. You've got a row in East Londonderry between your outgoing MLA and a previously outgoing MLA who wants to come back again. It's hardly perfect preparation to do well at the polls, is it?
Can you imagine, oh my God, a political party has a selection, right? Sinn Féin have people running against them in North Antrim, in West Tyrone, right across, but those things aren't talked about. What we have is competition for places now. That's a new thing for the SDLP. We have a brand new team. If you look at people like Claire Hannon, like Nicola Mallon, like Colin McGrath, people right across the north who have been standing up for the public and standing against the ravages against the public purse that we've seen in the last number of months. People are so fed up and angry at what's going on.
How many of those seats do you think you're going to win? What's your target? You're running 21 candidates, 3 fewer than last May.
I've made predictions before, Mark, and I don't do that anymore. I don't make predictions in public. I think we're working very, very hard to retain and gain some seats. In a reduced assembly, I think we can do very well.
Okay. You've got a tall order to come anywhere near Sinn Féin, because let's just talk about last May. Sinn Féin, 167,000 votes, 24%, 28 seats. Look at the SDLP, 83,000, half the number of first preferences, 12%, half the percentage points, 12 seats, fewer than half the seats. You're not going to come anywhere close to that.
Let's just see how we do. I think people are very, very angry at the DUP and Sinn Féin not delivering. And I know that Sinn Féin are out now putting up posters about stopping corruption, about the Irish Language Act, and all of these things. They were in government. They had the opportunity last May to create a programme for government that would deal with some of those things, but they didn't. We're the only party that brought an Irish language bill. We were bringing it through the Assembly before it collapsed.
Arlene Foster says there will never be an Irish Language Act.
Well, that's why you shouldn't vote for Arlene Foster, and that's why I think we need a different type of politics. And we can argue, I'm happy to argue with Arlene Foster, by the way, about the merits of an Irish Language Act. But I don't think it's acceptable for Arlene Foster or anybody else to talk about the Irish language or about Irish culture in the way that she has. If we could inject some civility into the conversation, then I think we can get over any of these hurdles. So the problem isn't that we disagree about a particular policy. The problem is that she treats people who care about the Irish language like they're second-class citizens, and I don't think that's any way to do government. So, you know, if people want that again, they should vote for that. If they want something different, they should vote for that.
What is your position on Arlene Foster's potential role in terms of government? Michelle O'Neill was on The View on Thursday night, the Sinn Féin Stormont leader. She said her her party will not support Arlene Foster having a role in the executive office unless or until the RHI public inquiry has reported and cleared her name. Do you agree with her?
Well, I've said this a few weeks ago that Arlene Foster should not be, or I wouldn't play any part in a government where Arlene Foster was First Minister.
That looks to the DUP as if you're trying to have an influence over who leads that
I'm just
party.
telling you what I'm going to do. I have to account for my actions, and I won't take part in a government where Arlene Foster refuses to step aside until the end of the public inquiry.
She says
a public
she's done nothing
inquiry,
wrong.
by the way, that we
she's
call
done nothing
for,
wrong, she says.
Well, let's find out. Let's see what happens in the public inquiry. If she's exonerated, then it's a different conversation.
Whatever
by
happens
the way,
to being innocent until proven guilty.
This public inquiry is something that we called for, along with other opposition parties, which Sinn Féin refused to call for, which they ended up back into such a difficult position that they had to call for, and now we have a public inquiry, of course, but that seems to be the way of things in the last number of months. Let's get to a point where we have a different type of politics, where people who actually want to work together, partnership and cooperation, rather than the same old thing which doesn't work for people. People are fed up with that.
Do you believe in your heart of hearts we are more than likely looking at an extended period of direct rule after this election?
Well, I think if people vote for the DUP and Sinn Féin in the same numbers that you read out a minute ago, then of course that's where we're heading. It seems to me bizarrely Sinn Féin now strategically want to have the Tories running Northern Ireland. I don't want that. I want to form a government. I want to get things done here, and all of the challenges that we have, like Brexit and all of the rest of them, let's get down to dealing with them, because that's what people care about. People are worried about the health service. They're worried about the waiting list. They're worried about getting access to a GP. They're worried about their children having to leave Northern Ireland to try and find a university place or find work. They're the things that we need to be dealing with. And I think if we form a government, we can deal with them. But if we don't form a government, if we go back into an argument then with the DUP and Sinn Féin and inevitably direct rule, then I don't think anybody wins.
What is someone who gives a first preference to the SDLP actually voting for in this election? Because on some issues, there is not a blade of grass between yourselves and Sinn Féin. On other issues, there are big differences.
Well, they voted for the SDLP policies. They're voting for a political party.
What makes the SDLP unique?
Well, the SDLP is a party that wants to work with unionism. My republicanism is about...
Sinn Féin's just been working with unionism in the executive office.
And how has that worked out? My republicanism is about Catholics, Protestants and dissenter working together. That's why I'm getting trolled on Twitter by Sinn Féin supporters saying it's ridiculous that I'm even considering working with a unionist. We've all signed up to this process, which means that Catholics and Protestants, unionists and nationalists have to work together to solve our problems in our common interests. That's what you get with the SDLP. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how many differences we have to work together. That's the only type of future that I believe in. It's the only type of future that I think the public believe in. And it gets us over this hurdle and begins to deal with some of the problems that we have.
Okay, all right, we will leave it there. Colm Eastwood, thanks very much indeed. Let's hear from Sam and Fionnuala. Fionnuala, what do you make of Colm Eastwood's take on the nature of the relationship between the SDLP and the Ulster Unionist Party?
Well, again, it would be lovely if it worked, but like Mike Nesbitt's pitch, and it's something I should have said then. Mike Nesbitt's pitch entirely depends on how DUP